Delivering remarks on how so-called Bidenomics is fueling America's clean energy future, creating American-made products and American factories with American workers, and attracting more than $500 billion in private sector manufacturing and clean energy investments. Here's President Biden.
I'm here today to talk about what we're doing to invest in America, invest in Pennsylvania, invest in our clean energy future. To talk about the progress we made building an economy from the middle out and the bottom up.
Public school teachers and staff in Orange County are continuing their active shooter training.
The training is being held at Horizon High School in Winter Garden. The district is hosting the Preparedness Days program this week as the beginning of the new school year approaches. After days of learning de-escalation strategies and how to handle an emergency evacuation, the teachers wrapped up the training today with an active assailant exercise. Nicole Diaz, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580.
It's 5:01 here at WDBO.
Boy, these headphones are like brand new and they're already falling apart on me. Look at this.
Oh, no.
That stinks.
Hi, everybody.
It's not like you can just buy the ear replacement pieces, right?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. All right, we're live on YouTube. We're live on the WDBO Facebook page and Joe Kelley's Facebook page. And Paul and Laurel, you know, you guys can share it to y'all's pages too now if you want to. You're able to.
I always just repost WDBO's post.
After the show's over?
No, I can do it now.
Okay.
But yeah, I usually do that.
I don't know if you can hear me, but
I
I
had
can't
my
hear
second
either
lunch,
of you.
but
Is that something
I feel
that's
still hungry again or something.
supposed to be?
Paul, you can't hear me? That's not good. You should be able to hear me. He's not looking at me. You should be able to hear me.
Paul, can you hear Laurel? Paul, can you hear me? Uh-oh.
Oh, I can hear you, Joe.
That doesn't look good.
Everybody, can you hear me and Joe?
I hear Laurel.
And
Taco
like
Bell!
problem on Paul's end. I love Taco Bell. I had Winter Park Biscuit Company. He did, Jude. I can confirm he did.
I did. I had my second lunch, yes.
Thank you, Paul.
My second lunch was the same as the first lunch. Isn't that a saying or a slogan or something?
I don't think so.
I had half a sandwich for my first lunch, and I finished the other half of the sandwich for the second lunch. I don't eat breakfast, so I have 2 lunches and a dinner. Lunch 1 is at about 11:30, and lunch 2 is about 4:30.
To eat spaghetti for breakfast. He just calls it lunch 1 because he wants spaghetti for breakfast.
Karen can hear everyone. That's good.
So can Paul and Mark. So I think that's a problem with Paul Cross's end, not our end.
Way through Lake Mary, and then from Parr on to the 408, Sand Lake to World Drive and 192 to 429. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
Local news,
Jude,
national
I
news,
am
even
freezing
news,
my
delivering the
skinny
topics that are relevant to you.
That's why I listen to Joe. He covers it all.
Ridiculous.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
The struggle is real, I'm telling you. I am wearing a jacket right now. I am so cold. It is so cold in our studios that it is hard. As I look out the window, I think, oh, it's freezing outside. I know full well what the thermometer says. It's 94 degrees right now. It feels like it's about 99 or 100 degrees. 106. 106. Wow, that's the real field temperature right now. So yeah, if you watch the video here in the WDBO Facebook page in our chat group, you'll see that I'm wearing a jacket, and somebody just asked if I was cold. I was like, yes, I am. I am very, very cold because we have the air conditioner cranked way, way down here in our studios, but largely because of the the super hot electronics. Because of our electronics, we keep everything very cold. Radio stations and TV stations both are historically very, very cold. And it is real chilly in here today. But enough about that. Let's talk about the heat outside. And I got some great tips here on how to deal with the heat outside.
Hey, Joe, I'm on vacation and I'm having an ice cold beer to deal with this heat.
And I feel for when I see people outside in the middle of the day, roofing crews and construction crews, outdoor crews, lawn maintenance crews. When I see them, I mean, my heart just goes out. I'm like, these poor people dealing with this heat. But I think this open mic here also gives some great advice on coping with the heat. Even though for any of us who've lived here in Florida for more than a year or two, we know that every summer it's hot and muggy. But I thought this was just really good advice.
I'm one of these old guys who grew up in South Florida without air conditioning, and not to go into all the dramatics about that or anything, but as far as how to deal with the heat, don't just stay indoors in air conditioning. Let yourself experience some heat outdoors, but do it wisely by hydrating and staying in the shade, umbrellas, stuff like that. And don't be afraid to sweat. Sweating is a normal human thing. It's good for you.
Don't be afraid to sweat. Oh, man, I'm totally afraid to sweat. And it's not my favorite thing, sweating. But that's really good advice. Everything in moderation, as they say. And my wife and I have been thinking about, going out and walking in the mornings and stuff. But you got to get up like pre-dawn to get out there before it is so hot outside. As soon as the sun comes up, it is just really, really hot outside. If you have any other tips for staying cool here in these hot temps, you can hit us up now in the open mic in the WDBO app or call 844-580-WDBO. My name is Joe Kelley. This is the Joe Kelley Show. So glad you're joining us here. We got a number of things to run through here with you this afternoon. And one of the things that we've been talking about in our newscasts today is the potential for a Disneyland-sized theme park coming to Middle America, coming to Oklahoma, Northeast Oklahoma, not very far from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I will tell you that on background, before I moved to Orlando in 2011, I lived in Tulsa for 6 years. And then after living there for 6 years, the company transferred me here to Orlando from Tulsa, same company, Cox Media Group. So I've got a little bit of experience in that part of the country, the Northeast Oklahoma, and there are plans afoot now to build a $2 billion American Heartland theme park and resort near Grand Lake. It's on Route 66. It is maybe 40 minutes outside of Tulsa. Really, in Oklahoma, there's only two cities for the most part. There's Tulsa and Oklahoma City, and then there's a bunch of little cities that I don't want to say don't count. They count, but they're just so small that nobody ever goes there. But Grand Lake is a beautiful, beautiful area. It's in rolling green hills, and I think it's going to be reminiscent if they build it right into the hills there. Have you guys ever been to Dollywood? Laurel, Paul, have you guys ever been to Dollywood?
No.
So that's Dolly Parton's theme park in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. I got to tell you, I went to Dollywood. It was a minute ago. I mean, I was an adult when I went, but my whole family went. I don't remember how long ago it was. Suffice to say, I was blown away at Dollywood at how beautiful it was, how clean it was, how well taken care of it was. It really blew my mind what a great theme park that was in Dollywood. And if you think that only Disney or Universal can do theme parks, I mean, they certainly do them well, but other people can do theme parks as well. And what's really interesting about this Oklahoma project is they have already, according to their news release, the design team includes more than 20 former Disney parks builders and Walt Disney Imagineers. So they've got seemingly the right people to build this. And I think it's going to be great. I think this is going to be absolutely fantastic. And honestly, nobody ever dreams of going to Oklahoma. Nobody ever says, oh, man, I can't wait to go to Oklahoma for something. And when I lived in Oklahoma, I remember the Chamber of Commerce there had this saying, this slogan, and they would say, you know what the worst part about Tulsa is when other people talk about Tulsa, is that other people don't talk about Tulsa. No one talks about moving to Tulsa. I mean, they've got a big brain drain there as students, graduate from high school. They'll go to college out of state, and they'll never return because it's just not a state that draws people in like Texas is, like Florida is, like some other states can be. I mean, California used to be one of those states. New York used to be one of those states. But I think that's going to be great for Oklahoma, and honestly, I think that could end up being great for Orlando, for our theme parks, because everybody does better when there's competition. And if you have the opportunity to maybe avoid some of the stifling heat that we have here in Central Florida, and they have 4 full seasons in Northeast Oklahoma. I mean, when I lived in Oklahoma and I lived in Northeast Oklahoma, I owned a snowblower for winter times because we'd have at least 1 or 2 blizzards a year, and we would be snowed in for 5, 6, 7 days. We had a 7-day power outage while we were in snow and ice. And as soon as I moved to Florida, I got rid of the snowblower and bought a high pressure washer. So I no longer needed to remove snow and ice. I needed to remove mold from humid Orlando, Florida. I had to get mold off the sidewalks and such. But the theme park and resort are expected to open in 2026. The first phase is going to be an RV park with cabins starting in the spring of 2025. It's 125 acres. The Americana theme park is going to be comparable in size to Disneyland or Magic Kingdom here at Disney World. So it'll be as big as Magic Kingdom, not all of Walt Disney World, Orlando. Let's see what else it says here. Sales, blah, 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 blah. Promoting Oklahoma. And I would imagine at some point, they expect it to attract more than 2 million visitors a year. How many people does Disney attract? Like 50, 60 million a year? I know it's a lot. They're going to have 6 American lands featured in the park. The Great Plains Land, the Bayou Bay, Big Timber Falls, Stony Point Harbor, Liberty Village, and Electropolis. How interesting. Well, I wish them well. 58 million visitors to Disney. Thank you, Ronald. That's each year. But that'll be great for Oklahoma. I'm happy for them. I hope that works out well. I hope they get a lot of traffic. I'm going to tell you, when I was in Dollywood, Dollywood has an old-fashioned steam train that goes through the park, and it's the train that goes around Magic Kingdom, Laurel, that's not a steam train, is it? I mean, it's like a diesel train or something.
No, I think it is a steam train.
Is it a steam train?
Yeah, I believe it is.
Because the one at Dollywood is a wood-fired, I mean, it's a legit wood-fired, or I'm sorry, coal. It's a coal-fired steam train locomotive. And they tell you time and again, whatever you do, when the train is moving, do not stick your head out the windows, because embers from the engine waft through the sky, and they can get in your eyes. So what did I do? I stuck my head out the window of the train, and sure enough, suddenly I felt the most searing pain in my eyeball as one of those little coal embers or wood embers or whatever it was hit me in the eye, and I had to go to the first aid and have them try to get that out of my eye. And even that was really a pleasant experience, all things considered. I mean, typically having a burning ember in your eyeball is not something that you get excited about, but even the first aid team at Dollywood was first class, and it was a really cool time. So I hope that Tulsa and Northeast Oklahoma is able to put that together, much the way that Dolly Parton did with Dollywood. I don't know to what extent Dolly Parton actually owns Dollywood, or if she just licenses her names to it. You know, a lot of times when you see celebrities that are involved in business interests, a lot of times they're just licensing their names to it, and they don't really own it. I'm not real sure about Dolly Parton. Speaking about owning things, the $1 billion jackpot, Powerball jackpot, was finally sold. Someone finally claimed it. One ticket has been sold in California. I say claimed it, but the person has not come forward yet. And have you guys seen a picture of the shop where this thing was sold, where the ticket was sold?
No, but by its name, I imagine it's some tiny rinky-dink
It is
bodega type thing.
It is Poopsville. I mean, it is.
Well, it is LA.
It is the hood. It's the slum. It is the ghetto. It is a dumpy little trashed store. And it's right near Skid Row. It's right near a massive homeless encampment in LA. So you have to imagine. And you know, you've heard it said for a long time that lottery is gambling for people who were bad at math. You know, I mean, it's because the odds of you winning is ludicrous that you could win. So it's not hard to imagine that some homeless guy, some panhandler, some trank addict or other crack addict, drug addict, heroin addict or something, you know, bummed a couple of dollars from somebody on the streets and went and bought the ticket. And you know how their life is going to be ruined when they're handed $1 billion? I mean, they're not going to be handed $1 billion, but you get the idea, you know, after taxes and all that stuff. I mean, even smart people struggle after lotteries because of how it's such a life-changing event when you're suddenly handed that much money. And if you are strung out, if you're on drugs, I mean, let's hope that's not the case. Or if it is the case, let's hope that the first thing that the person spends their money on is rehab and getting their life together. Paul Cross?
You know, the place that sold the ticket is so really out of touch with things that I was listening to audio of news reporters that were there at the location of where the ticket was sold, and the owners didn't even know they sold it.
Yeah,
they had no idea that it came from their store. And they were finding out from the reporters outside, going, "What's going on?"
And there's just a tiny little door to go in, and honestly, the biggest signage that they have is a sign for the lottery. I mean, that's basically what it is. It's a little store that probably sells 40-ounce beers and lottery tickets. That's probably, and they probably sell rolling papers and some other, you know, paraphernalia there. I mean, it's a dump. It's an absolute dump. And I makes me wonder if, like, lottery officials ever check out the retailers that are doing the ticket sales that are actually, you know, part of their affiliates. But someone's life is about to change, and I don't know that it's going to change for the better. Frankly, I think it could change very much for the worse.
Like $550 million cash up front. That's what it was.
Yeah, $558.1 million lump sum before taxes. Most lottery tickets do choose the one-time lump sum. California law requires that the identity of the winner must be disclosed, though that has not happened as of today. The person has 12 months to submit a claim, which will be vetted by lottery officials. Lottery winnings are subject to federal taxes, but California is one of 8 states that do not tax lottery winnings. The state does, however, take 20% from the winning for U.S. Internal Revenue Service. So they take the 20% for federal taxes. But man, that is going to mess someone's life up really, really bad, getting a check for $558.1 million. I feel for them. I do. Because that's not something easy to deal with. I know everybody dreams of hitting a lottery. I know a lot of people have their retirement based around a dream of winning a lottery. But winning a lottery is, I've seen case after case after case, I'm sure you have as well, of lottery winners who have squandered everything, whose lives have become miserable after winning a lottery. I don't know about you, but I would love that opportunity to be miserable after winning a $1 billion lottery. I'm Joe Kelley. It's 5:20 here on WDBO.
Now, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
You got a crash 417 southbound at the 528, seeing some really slow traffic on the approach now. Also another wreck on Clarkona, Ocoee Road and Hiawassee Road, and a crash on Goldenrod at Knowlton Way. This is between the 408 and Curry Ford Road. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
A suspected serial killer is in custody in Dallas. Police say they arrested a 25-year-old man Wednesday linked to the murders of 3 women believed to be sex workers. Oscar Sanchez Garcia faces 3 murder counts after the victims were found in open fields starting in April. SpaceX is celebrating the successful launch of 15 Starlink satellites into orbit overnight, then landing its Falcon 9 rocket on a ship at sea. The rocket lifted off from Vandenberg Space Force Base on the Central California coast shortly after midnight following a one-day delay. The wife of the suspected Gilgo Beach murderer is filing for divorce. Court filings show that Asa Elrup, the wife of Rex Heuermann, filed for divorce in Suffolk County Supreme Court Wednesday afternoon. Heuermann is charged with 3 murders and is the prime suspect in a 4th. Marie, I don't know what that means, but now I'm incredibly curious. Paul was having some trouble hearing us, so I don't know if he can. But Karen, I agree with your comment. Why would I go to Jolly World when I have Walt Disney World? I want to go sometime. I like Disney a lot, and it's right here. And I too hope it's somebody down on their luck that can be responsible about it, right? You don't want somebody that's going to blow $1 billion for drugs, right? You hope it's somebody that can do good with it. So when I heard it was sold in LA, I'm like, oh man, you're either extraordinarily poor or rich to live in LA, right? And I'm like, did some rich person that already has enough money to live in LA win the lottery? You always hope it's somebody that needs it, you know? Oh my gosh, you're a joke, Murray. You're so silly. I guess he was up in the chopper. That makes sense. Yeah, Fran, I put my coat on eventually. I was out. I ran to East End Market for lunch, and so I was still hot from being outside. So it took me a minute to get cold again in the studio. And now I'm cold again. Because it is cold in here. I'm trying not to yawn, but I have half of my Celsius left. I only drank half of it yesterday. So I should drink this before Beth comes on and teases me for yawning. Or Joe yells at me for yawning. Somebody text Beth and tell her we're on. She got mad if she didn't know yesterday. Somebody go tell her. So it starts every day at the same time. Which you all obviously know because you're on the stream already. I've never had that one, Chris. I'm going to have to try that. I just have whichever one they are given here at the station. Yes. Thank you, guys. Let's get her in here before she's like, hey, I didn't get a notification. We don't want her to miss an hour like she did yesterday. She does have a long last name. I should have asked her how to say it when I met her on Saturday. Yeah, that's an interesting last name. Oh, my goodness. What are y'all doing this weekend? I'm dealing with ants. We keep finding them in the house. My husband texted me when we were coming in. And he's like, they're in my office now. I'm like, oh, yo. Have to go get that granular stuff.
Hey, Joe, if you like Dollywood, you need to check out Silver Dollar City in Branson, Missouri. The place is amazing.
You know, I hear that, and I have, as close as I live to Branson, to Missouri, I have never been to Branson, Missouri. And I know that is a huge tourist hotspot, particularly for people in the Midwest. But I've never been. But I've heard nice things about Silver Dollar City.
I moved here 3 years ago, and I mow my lawn, whether it's 90 or 95 degrees outside, with a push mower for an hour and a half to 2 hours every week. My Florida native neighbors think I'm crazy, but I love it.
Yeah.
Just stay hydrated, wear a hat.
Yeah, that certainly makes sense. We're talking about how to stay cool in this hot weather.
Joe, a good way to stay cool is to have these little cooling cloths that are made of chamois material.
Oh, yeah.
Wrap that around your neck after leaving it in the freezer all night wet.
Yeah. I've seen those.
It's cold, but it'll keep you cool for at least a few hours.
Yeah. At the moment, though, I'm currently freezing. So that sounds terrible at the moment because it's so cold in our studios right now.
For one, Joe, Dolly Parton does own Dollywood. And two, what the other guy had said, you've got to be outside more, even in the shade or whatever in Florida.
Yeah.
So your body adapts to the heat.
Right.
And then it's not so bad on you.
Yeah. I think we get that. That made sense. And by the way, I did look this up. Dolly Parton. So the history of this, the theme park was there before it was Dollywood. In fact, oddly enough, it was called Silver Dollar City. Which is the same name of the theme park that is in Branson, Missouri. It was called Silver Dollar City, and it was owned by a family from Branson, Missouri, coincidentally. They're in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and Dolly Parton bought half of it. So she bought half, rebranded it under Dolly Parton, under Dollywood. They changed the name of it, cleaned it up, and it has been a huge success ever since. It really wasn't until Dolly Parton got involved that Dollywood became a much more well-renowned theme park than it was before, and I think that's great, and more power to her. It's a great theme park, and it's a lot of fun, and again, I hope the one in Oklahoma does similarly well. But you've been around to some of these small towns that have their own little theme parks, and man, they just look like death traps in some cases. I just get a little nervous around some of those smaller parks that look more like a traveling, state fair type park than anything else. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to get into there is still movement taking place down in Parkland, Florida, at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. That deputy, the Broward deputy, the now retired, fired Broward deputy Scott Peterson, while he was able to escape any kind of criminal charges, as I had suspected he would, that does not make him immune to civil charges. And if anybody remembers the OJ case, OJ got acquitted in the criminal case, but was found liable in the civil case. So they're going to have a reenactment of the school shooting massacre, and they have to get it done before school starts near the end of August. It's already near the end of July. Hang on, we're going to describe for you the reenactment they're planning. That's going to be coming up next here on WDBO.
This is WDBO.
WDBO.
Good afternoon, 5:30 here at WDBO. Our top story, President Biden in Philadelphia today delivering remarks on how so-called Bidenomics is fueling America's clean energy future, creating American-made products and American factories with American workers, and attracting more than $500 billion in private sector manufacturing and clean energy investments.
Jobs are about dignity. That's the American dream. That's Bidenomics and rooted in what always worked best for this country. Investing in America.
Police in Illinois sees a carnival ride after a child was thrown from it last weekend.
After a state inspection of a carnival ride called Moby Dick, police in Antioch, Illinois seized that ride, which locks people in at the shoulders, then goes up and down as speed increases. A 10-year-old boy was thrown off that ride Sunday at the Antioch Taste of Summer Festival and critically injured. The boy's grandmother telling Fox News.
It's supposed to be a fun place, a great place for kids, and honestly, I don't think I would ever want a child to be on a ride like that again.
Investigators are looking to see if any criminally reckless or negligent behavior may have contributed to the accident. We're also told that the ride passed state inspection earlier this year. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Laurel Lee, WDBO News. People always text me when I'm on the air. Hi, Beth. Hi, Stephanie. Beth, we were worried about you. We're like, oh, somebody go tell her.
I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I can't hear you at all. Neither one of you.
Paul, we can hear you. I don't know.
You can?
Mm-hmm.
I can't hear you. I may have to reboot. Yeah. I'll reboot.
Okay.
Doesn't like me.
I guess I signed that efficiently enough.
See you in a bit. After my turn.
I had to reboot yesterday. Now he has to reboot. Entertaining paint. Murray, what are you getting painted? Because you were getting painted last weekend too, right? Are you just getting the whole outside of your house painted? Oh my gosh, you are going to have a lot of people at your house. Woo-wee. No, Beth, don't be sorry. We just wanted to make sure, like yesterday, you didn't get the notification. So we just wanted to make sure, we didn't want to leave you behind. That's all. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's see if he can hear us now. Can you hear me? Yay, we fixed it. All right.
Amazing what a power off, power on, or getting out of a program.
That's what I had to do yesterday.
I wish that worked for my life. I'm walking into this, just the traffic. It's just not working for me. Let me just reboot.
That would be awesome. You're having like a bad day. You're like, we just need to reboot today.
Right.
Just,
I'm having a bad day. I need to reboot. That's going to be my go-to now. I'm going to reboot.
I love it. Marie, Beth, Marie tagged you in the comments. So perfect. That worked. Good job, Marie. No, Beth.
Oh,
we were worried she didn't know the cast started. So Marie tagged her in the comments and it gave Beth a heads up that we were on.
I didn't hear Joe yell that it was on today. So yeah.
Thank God. I shut him off. I shut off the sounders in my feed when he did that because it was annoying. So, Oh, hold on. He's coming back. Stop talking about him. No, Stephanie, there is no late as long as you come hang out with us. Oh, out the outside of your house. Oh, Karen, you need somebody to paint the outside of your house. Yeah, me too. I still have hail damage from it. Need somebody to paint my house.
Did
too.
you guys hear Mitt Romney on hot dogs?
We're going back to hot dogs? No, I did not hear him.
Well,
on
you're
hot
going to
dogs.
hear Mitt Romney on hot dogs. Okay, I'm unzipping my jacket because now I'm getting hot, which happens when I'm on the air.
You get too worked up.
Dude, I get worked up. My blood gets going.
Worked up thinking of hot dogs.
I was gonna say, Paul, do not just have another hot dog because half the time we're speaking about something, you just have it with you.
Hey, Jude.
We talked
best
about
meat
a
ever. Hot
I don't
dogs.
have that.
Are we having this discussion again?
WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
Still working a crash 417 southbound at the 528. Got another crash on John Young Parkway at Central Florida Parkway. The right lane is blocked there. And a wreck on 429 southbound just before West Road. I'm seeing lots of brake lights on the approach there. This report sponsored by Discover. Discover credit cards do something awesome. At the end of your first year, they automatically double all the cash back you've earned. That's right. Everything you earned doubled. See terms and check it out for yourself at discover.com/match. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Orlando's news and talk. Insightful.
You tell the truth from your point of view.
Entertaining.
Man, that guy is a lot taller than he sounds on the radio.
And engaging.
When we hear you on the radio, it's a good thing.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
So we're on the brink of World War III. We have an economy that's in the tank. We have a president that is in significant cognitive decline. We have a president that seems to have been on the receiving end of some $17 million in inappropriately spent money. But Senator Mitt Romney is obsessed with hot dogs, evidently.
Well, as you all know, today is National Hot Dog Day. And perhaps you also know that hot dog is my favorite meat. I love hot dogs. I love them in buns. I love them outside of buns. I love them with baked beans. I just like hot dogs. It's the best, best meat there is, without question. So to all of you who, like me, are celebrating National Hot Dog Day, congratulations to you. And may there be many, many more hot dogs served in our wonderful land.
What? That is not a serious politician. That is not a serious man.
The best meat there is?
What? It's not even a meat. It's not even a meat. You can't call hot dog meat.
It is the best meat there is. I think I'd like to just keep that quote somewhere tucked away and play that every once in a while.
And he's wearing a ball cap with a hot dog embroidered onto it, which looks dumb. And then he's wearing a wired lavalier microphone that's clipped to his tie. And he's clearly doing it.
What year is this?
Yeah, he's clearly doing it in the hallways of either the Congress or his congressional office building. I'm not sure which it is. And he obviously thinks he's being clever. He obviously he's probably in his mind thinking, okay, this is going to go so viral on TikTok. I'm going to be so big. I'm going to be huge. Mitt Romney.
But Joe, then he got into the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile and went home. So.
Well, as you all know, today is National Hot Dog Day. And perhaps you also know that hot dog is my favorite meat. I love hot dogs. I love them in buns. I love them outside of buns. I love them with baked beans. I just like hot dogs. It's the best, best meat there is, without question. What? So to all of you who, like me, are celebrating National Hot Dog Day, congratulations to you. And may there be many, many more hot dogs served in our wonderful land.
Why would he even do that? I'm thinking, does he represent the hot dog industry or something? Or, he represents the state of Utah. Is Utah known for hot dog production?
He reminds me of the corn kid. The kid's like, it's the best there is. Corn. That reminds me of that kid before.
I don't know who that kid is, but I like him already.
It's a viral video. I'll have to show you.
He's like the I like turtles kid, right?
Yeah. He's like that. Yeah.
I like turtles. Okay, Mitt Romney. I'm glad you like hot dogs.
Has he ever had a steak? Has Mitt Romney ever eaten
Right?
or anything?
Right? I mean, come
Best
on.
meat there is.
That is not the best meat that there is.
He is a very cheap date. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
Mitt, I'm going to make you real happy. Let's go grab some hot dogs.
I mean, we already, I think we exhausted the hot dog discussion yesterday, but I will say that there's no possible way, there is no possible way that any human looks at a hot dog and thinks that's my favorite meat, right? There's no possible way. Maybe an 8-year-old boy, maybe, would say that, but a grown adult. And Paul, for those who don't have the benefit of seeing you, if they're not watching on the chat right now on the WDBO Facebook page, you keep doing the money sign.
Somebody greased him. There's no way he's saying that on his own. Somebody's paying for his.
Well, that's what
like I said. He got into the Oscar Mayer mobile and he drove away.
Did he really get in the Oscar Mayer mobile?
No,
You're making that
I'm
up.
saying
okay.
That's well. Who knows if I'm making that up? Who said I'm making that up?
I just did. That was me. I don't know if you recognize my voice. Hello, I'm Joe. How are you?
Telling you the truth.
Did he get in the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile or not?
No, not that I know of.
Besides,
no.
they changed. They changed the name of the Wienermobile, don't you? It's no longer called the Wienermobile. Yeah.
What's it called? The best meat in the world mobile?
That's certainly. That's got to be what it is. Yes.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
All right, we don't have a whole lot of rain. We got a couple of little showers popping up here. We do have some sea breezes that are coming in right now, but nothing that's really going to affect our drive too much, Paul Cross.
No, it's looking pretty good right now, Joe. On I-4, we just see a little bit of slowing as you make your way into downtown on the westbound side. Eastbound side looks up to speed, but we do have a crash, 417 southbound at the 528, and a crash on John Young Parkway at Central Florida Parkway. That one is blocking the right lane. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
All right, so let me get you up to speed on what's going to happen down in Parkland. So down in Parkland, you'll recall that Scott Peterson was the former Broward County Deputy, school resource officer. He was on duty the day that the shooter came in. It was Valentine's Day 2018, and the shooter came in, killed 17 people, including 14 students, injured 17 others. Scott Peterson was tried criminally, and he was acquitted on all charges, found not guilty on all charges. But he is now facing a civil suit, a variety of civil suits from a number of families. And the plaintiffs, the people who have filed the civil suit, they want to stage a reenactment of the massacre, which in all of the school shootings we've had in the past, have you guys ever heard of them doing a reenactment of the actual shooting? And I guess in this particular case, there is a unique reason why they want to do a reenactment. They want to prove that Scott Peterson should have been able to identify where the shooting sound was coming from. That is their function here with a reenactment, because the Scott Peterson, in his defense, claimed, look, I couldn't tell because of the echoing between the school buildings and echoing, around the campus. I couldn't tell exactly where the shooting was coming from. That was his excuse/defense. So the plaintiffs want to prove that if we recreate the shooting exactly as it happened, and they're going to bring out the golf cart and everything, they're going to set it up exactly the same way that it was in February 14th, 2018, when it happened. And now that the plaintiffs have said that they want to create a reenactment, the defense, this would be Scott Peterson's team, say they want to stage their own reenactment. So there will be not one, but two different stagings of reenactments of the massacre from February 14th, 2018 at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. And it has to happen before school starts. And school starts August 21st in Broward County. So they've got to get this done because they do not want students on campus. Hell no. They don't want students on campus when they're doing this shooting reenactment. Now, it should be noted that Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School still exists. The school is still there. Every building still exists. They are not going to tear down the school, but they are going to demolish the buildings or building. I think it's just one building. They're going to demolish the one building where most of the, or if not all of the murders took place. So they are going to demolish the building within 30 days. The county is going to demolish it within 30 days of receiving access to the building. They'll receive access to the building as soon as they finish the reenactments. The demolition will not be completed before school begins on August 21st. And there is some concern that the neighbors, the homes that are around Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, they're all going to be flipping out because they're going to suddenly hear gunshots all over again, just like 2018. They're going to see cop cars just like they did 2018. They're going to see all kinds of hubbub going on at the school just like they did in 2018. So the Broward County officials say they're going to be notifying all the neighbors. They're going to notify the entire community of when the reenactment is going to take place. And the defense, so they both have to coordinate. Both the defense and the plaintiffs have to coordinate so that it can be done on either the same day. So the reenactments are done both on the same day or on consecutive days. So it has to be one day after the next or both of them on the same day. The reenactments have to happen next month. The court has set a status hearing for today to make sure that both sides are on track, and I haven't heard the outcome of that status hearing. Whether the recordings of the reenactments would be admissible evidence at trial remains to be seen, but that'll be an issue taken up at a later date. The plaintiff's motion sought permission to enter the building to conduct audio and video recordings during a reenactment that would parallel the killer's movements and the gunfire inside the 3-story 1200 building, which has been preserved and nobody has been allowed inside since the shooting, since they cleared it as a crime scene. The shooter, as you may recall, whose name I have no interest in saying, sentenced to life in prison without parole last year. So they're going to be using the same Smith & Wesson model M&P 15 semi-automatic rifle. They're going to be using the same caliber of cartridge, albeit with blanks. They call full metal jacket blanks. So there'll be no cartridge expelled. And this is interesting language. So the plaintiffs are explaining to the judge that there will be no cartridges expelled. I don't think they're using the right terminology. I don't think they're using the right words. I think what they mean is there's going to be no bullet that'll be expelled. A cartridge would still be expelled. That is the shell casing. I had to print 3 different stories on this because the language was so weird and I was having a hard time understanding what they meant. They say that it'll take roughly 2 hours to do one reenactment. They're also going to turn on the fire alarm. They'll turn it on and off, and they're going to use a golf cart to simulate Peterson's arrival on the scene. Defense, in their desire to do a reenactment, take issue with the use of blanks, saying that blanks sound nothing like live rounds. Well, yeah, that may be the case. But are you really suggesting that they should be using live bullets in this recreation? And in another story that I read about this, that's actually what they said. In a story from Local 10 TV down in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, it says they're going to use live ammunition with a, quote, bullet safety device. But it doesn't explain what the bullet safety device is. And I have no idea what they mean by a bullet safety device. If you're in the armaments industry and you know what a bullet safety device is, or you know what they could mean by that, let us know. 844-580-WDBO, or use the open mic in the WDBO app.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. Now, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
Got a new crash on Old Winter Garden Road eastbound before Hiawassee Road. First responders are there and they have the right lane closed. Also another crash 429 southbound before West Road. And we still have that crash. They're working on it, Clarkona Ocoee at Hiawassee. This report sponsored by Compassion International. Drought, war, and rising food prices have devastated families in poverty. $50 provide a food kit to feed a family for a month. Just text the word radio to 97646. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
The lights will stay lit on Broadway. The union representing Broadway stagehands reached a tentative agreement with the Broadway League and Disney Theatrical Productions this morning for their contracts. The agreement avoided a third strike in the entertainment world, with Hollywood actors and writers already picketing. The House Oversight Committee is scheduling a hearing next week on unidentified aerial phenomena. Witnesses include Navy pilots who have reported multiple encounters with UAPs, better known as UFOs. Citing lack of info from the government on UAPs, lawmakers say next week's hearing will focus on transparency. President Biden pushing his economic plan Bidenomics in Philadelphia today, touting the decreases in inflation growth and the record low unemployment numbers. Despite some positive economic data, 79% of Americans say that the economy is just fair or poor.
Hey, Laurel. Can you ask Joe if he remembers doing a story on Operation Southern Slowdowns?
Yeah, I think I do, but I'll ask him too. Hey, Paul is asking if you remember doing a story on Operation Southern Slowdown. That's what they were doing, like speed traps, essentially, right?
Yeah, and I was in the air today looking down at the I-4 where they had 12 motorcycle cops lined up just pulling people over out of the express lanes. So it's going on fully right now this whole week. So a lot of speed traps. So keep the speeds down.
Yeah, I saw one getting on the turnpike from Winter Garden the other day. He was right there at the entrance. I'm like, uh-oh, there he is. Yes, Beth, the sun is out. Let's hope it stays out because I've driven home in the rain for the last 2 days and I don't want to play that game again. I don't think the taxpayers are paying for the reenactments, Karen. I read that the judge said something like if the prosecution wants to have these reenactments, then essentially they have to pay for the reenactments. And same if the defense wants to do their own reenactments, then they have to pay for the reenactments. I just watched, not to go back to hot dogs, but to go back to hot dogs. I just watched this whole documentary. It's like The Foods That Made Us or whatever. And it was about Oscar Mayer and how it was like the son of the co-founder. The co-founder had died. And so it was like his son and the original founder. And he was the one that originally wanted to like wrap up the individual hot dogs and sell them in grocery stores. And they thought he was nuts and it was never going to work. And they had to do all this advertising to get people to trust them. And one of the big advertising pushes was the Oscar Wiener Mobile. And they thought he was insane for wanting to do it. But it became one of the best and most popular in the world. So silly. No, Beth, I believe not. I believe we did a story that says, yeah, no, that us taxpayers are not paying for that. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 90% sure. That's what I read. You like driving in the rain, Chris? Are you bananas? I don't mind driving in the rain myself. I don't like driving in the rain with other people. because this one's going incredibly slow, like so slow that I'm like, what's wrong with you? And then this one's going too fast. It's I don't like driving either, Karen. It stresses me out. Any opportunity for me not to drive, I take that.
Breaking news to lively debates, covering the issues that matter to you.
I make it a point to listen to Joe Kelley when I need to fully understand what's happening in the news.
Now, the Joe Kelley Show on Orlando's News and Talk, WDBO.
So at one of these events that they had a sporting event, there were shots fired outside of the arena, and everybody was running to get out of the arena, going into where they were shooting. I don't remember what it was. It was recently some team finals for some championship, but it's not easy when you hear shots fired in a hallway to know exactly where it's coming from if you're like outside or right in the middle.
No, and that's exactly why they want to do this recreation, is because it is not easy to determine where the shots are coming from.
Joe, having a reenactment isn't really going to prove anything. You know, you have to take into consideration the experience of this gentleman, of this officer, Peterson. Has he ever been in a firefight? If you haven't been in a firefight, it's very difficult to tell where the shots are coming from, especially in an urban environment. Large brick walls, lots of refraction, lots of sound going everywhere.
I've been at gun ranges before. I've been at very, very large gun ranges before, outdoor gun ranges. And when I hear the crack of a rifle going off, even in that scenario, I'm like, I'm not real sure where that came from. Because a sound does weird things.
So my understanding back at that time with the Parkland shooting, that was the rule, or that was the protocol. You waited for backup and then you went in. I'm not trying to defend this guy. I'm just trying to share my understanding of what the protocol was back then, because people were getting picked off one by one as they were coming into buildings. As a father, sorry, I'm going in. I don't care how many people I have to wait for. So,
well, I've got two thoughts there. One is a father going in. I'm with you on that one. As a father, I would just try to go in. But if you remember the Uvalde shooting, the cops there kept all of the parents at bay and even arrested and handcuffed a couple of parents who were ready to charge in to rescue their kids. So that didn't work out very well for them. My name is Joe Kelley. We'll continue coming up in the next hour. A little bit, we'll lighten things up in the next hour just a little bit. We might even get into, dare I say, some personal hygiene matters in the next hour. Yeah. As we all smell ourselves. Okay, hang on. We'll get into that coming up next. Don't nobody go nowhere. It's the Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. Now, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
Well, we've got our normal slowing areas, and it has been pretty rough this afternoon. Just be patient, get through. There's no major wrecks to contribute to that stuff, but we do have a new crash on Old Winter Garden Road before Hiawassee on the eastbound side there. The right lane is blocked, and a wreck on 429 southbound before West Road. This report sponsored by Compassion International. Drought, war, and rising food prices have devastated families in poverty. $50 provides a food kit to feed a family for a month. Just text the word radio to 97646. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
WDBO Orlando, WOEX FM HD2 Orlando, W297BB Orlando. Powered by Talon Wealth Management. Visit guardingyournestegg.com. Listen everywhere at WDBO.com, a Cox Media Group station.
I have no idea who Mike Marcello is, but
Karen, that's funny. I do feel like I live here. I'm here for the majority of the day. And weekends. For sure. Okay. Ooh. News time. Good evening, 6:01 here at WDBO. Our top story, President Biden is bringing his Bidenomics tour to Philadelphia.
A lot of my friends in organized labor know when I think climate, I think jobs. I think union jobs, not a joke.
The president today toured the Philly shipyard where union workers are building a ship that will be used to install and maintain offshore wind turbines. The project is part of the administration's continued push into U.S. manufacturing and clean energy. He said 1,000 workers across 9 labor unions will work on the project. The president also announced the first offshore wind lease sale in the Gulf of Mexico. Well, YouTube is bumping up its price on some of its platforms.
YouTube Premium is now $2 more and is priced at $13.99 per month. Those using YouTube Premium Music will see a $1 increase in its plan to $10.99 per month. A spokesperson for the streaming giant told 9 to 5 Google that the rate hike shows the value of the ad-free services, noting its music app has more than 100 million songs. Nicole Diaz, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580.
A new case of malaria reported from a county in southwest Florida.
The State Department of Health reported the latest case of the mosquito-borne disease in Sarasota County. So far, 7 of the 8 cases in the U.S. have come from Sarasota County, with just 1 case being reported from Texas. Florida's Department of Health continues to remind residents to wear proper coverings, use repellent, and drain standing water to prevent infections. Sophie Diaz, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580.
6:02 here at WDBO. I think we did, y'all. I think we did. Yeah, I think we got him. No party crashers here, my friends. No, no, no.
Well, I think I blocked him from the DBO account, so I don't mind people disagreeing. I just don't like trolls. Trolls disrupt our fun. It's a good group. It's a good group we have, and we don't need trolls. Nope, he's still there, so okay. I just did too. Yeah, I just did too. Yeah, so did I. Oh.
Oh, that was my fault. It was my fault. I couldn't hear you.
I said so did I. I blocked him too.
Oh, good. And Beth reported him. So good. No, Terry, you're not a troll. That's silly, though. Only if you got really good riddles, right?
Still looking at a crash here on the 429 southbound right before West Road, and a crash on Old Winter Garden Road eastbound before Hiawassee, that one blocking the right lane. We have our normal slowdown areas on I-4 as you make your way in and through downtown, so just use caution with the car in front of you. This report sponsored by Compassion International. Drought, war, and rising food prices have devastated families in poverty. $50 provides a food kit to feed a family for a month. Text the word radio to 97646. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk. Orange, Seminole, Osceola, and all of Central Florida. Join the conversation now by using the open mic in the WDBO app. Now, the Joe Kelley Show on Orlando's news and talk, WDBO.
Well, there are two big movies that are supposed to be coming out this weekend. Not supposed to be. They are coming out this weekend. I guess the supposed to be is they're supposed to be big. That only the audiences will decide if they're going to be big movies. But, of course, it's Barbie and Oppenheimer. Can I get a quick round from everybody? Laurel and Paul, do you guys plan on seeing either of those two movies, Barbie or Oppenheimer?
No, neither.
Neither, really?
No.
Paul, neither?
My daughter is going to go see Barbie.
Yeah.
She wants to go see Barbie, but she's an older daughter too. It's not like she's 10. So she's just kind of thinking that's going to be fun. But I know Oppenheimer is very serious too, isn't it?
It is, and I've read several reviews on Oppenheimer, and the big takeaway was when you drive home after the movie, you're going to be driving in silence because you're going to be devastated by what you see, and that it is going to be you're going to be shook after seeing Oppenheimer, and it's a Christopher Nolan movie. I mean, how do you not want to see a Christopher Nolan movie? I am absolutely going to go see Oppenheimer, and I want to take my kids with me, my sons, my twins, Black and Decker. They're 17 years old, and I think they're old enough to see and understand this movie. But what is interesting is that the director, Christopher Nolan, and if you've probably seen the ads in your Facebook feed or your Reddit feed or your Threads feed or your Insta feed or whatever it is, I've seen a lot of ads for Oppenheimer, and it all quotes director Christopher Nolan saying that you have to see the movie in true IMAX. IMAX 70 millimeter. That's the way to see the movie. And then I saw this piece at clickorlando.com that kind of expands on that some. Christopher Nolan is showing the movie in IMAX 70 millimeter. And if you consider yourself a movie snob, you already know that IMAX 70 millimeter is the creme de la creme. Nothing can beat that experience. But it goes on to read, the problem is that theaters that show IMAX 70 millimeter films are few and far between. There are only 30 movie theaters in the entire world that show films this way. 19 of them are in the United States, and none are in Orlando. Have we been misled on what IMAX is? Don't we have IMAX theaters here in Orlando? Isn't there an IMAX at the Regal Point Theater on iDrive? Isn't there an IMAX in there? Isn't there an IMAX at what used to be the Artisan Mall AMC Theater? Isn't there an IMAX in that theater? Waterford Lakes, don't they have an IMAX in that theater as well? I'm a little confused. Because, again, according to this piece, there's one theater in Florida, one movie theater in Florida showing Oppenheimer in IMAX 70 millimeter, and it's got a sponsorship. The theater is the Auto Nation IMAX, the Auto Nation IMAX at the Museum of Discovery and Science in Fort Lauderdale, which means you got to drive 3 hours, of course, assuming that there's no traffic backups, which you can't assume that. 3 hours to see a 3 hour drive to see a 3 hour movie and a 3 hour drive back. The film itself It's not. It's film. It's not digital. It's actually in a platter of film. The films are 11 miles long and weigh 600 pounds. They say it's like going down to the site of the Titanic wreckage and back 2 times. Well, I don't want to go to the Titanic wreckage and back 2 times. So what is it? So I looked this up to try to figure out what the difference is between IMAX 70 millimeter and just regular IMAX. The IMAX film standard uses 70 millimeter film run through the projector horizontally. Okay. So your phone turned sideways, right? So the IMAX 70 millimeter runs the film through the projector vertically. So it makes the film taller, not just wider. It makes it taller. So if you've got like a 4-story screen or whatever that you're watching it on, you're going to be able to see the whole 4 stories. I don't know about you guys, but when I see a movie on a big screen, on a giant screen like an IMAX, and I think the last time I saw an IMAX movie, I saw one of the Star Wars movies, I think on an IMAX. All I remember was it was like watching a tennis match. The screen was so big that I was constantly looking back and forth from one side to the other, and I couldn't always look in the right place at the right time. So I thought, man, this is a terrible experience. So I didn't want to do that again. You understand what I'm saying?
A lot of times they have these IMAX theaters in science centers, don't they?
Well,
don't
Laurel,
they have the IMAX experience?
Laurel, didn't you say that there's one out at the Kennedy Space Center?
Yes, there is one. Yeah, but
they're not showing commercial films there.
No,
they're showing space films.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, they're showing IMAX that was shot from the space station. And again, I have to wonder if that's IMAX in 70 millimeter or if that's just regular IMAX, which I thought IMAX was big, but evidently it's not as big as IMAX 70 millimeter.
I have no idea.
Either way, I have completely thrown in the towel on whether or not I'm going to see this in any kind of an IMAX. I'm just going to go to regular theater and check it out. But I do want to see, in fact, I bought the book upon which the movie is based. The book is called American Prometheus. And then there's a subtitle of some sort, but which I don't recall. And the book is as thick as War and Peace. It is a massive, massive book. And I got maybe half a chapter into the book, and it's really compelling. It's an incredibly well done book. But I hate reading. I hate reading. There, I admitted it on the radio. I don't like to read. I can read, and I do read every day. I read news articles. I read the web. I read all kinds of things. But sitting down with a book and reading, boy, that is not my thing. I have the hardest time with that. Even when I'm trying to sit and read the Bible or other biblical books, I mean, I struggle. And I think this stems back from my childhood because I always associate reading a book with going to sleep, because I would always read a book before I would go to bed. And that was what would make me sleepy. So now it's like Pavlovian for me. The second I pick up a book, I start getting sleepy and I'm done. I can't read it. So I only got, like I said, halfway into the first chapter just because I kept falling asleep while I was reading it. Not that it was a boring book. It's a great read. But I'm very much looking forward to seeing Oppenheimer. I have zero plans to go see the Barbie movie. That does not look fun at all. John is checking in from DeLand. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Hey, how's it going, Joe?
Very good.
Hey, good. I can't wait to see Oppenheimer. I do military World War II paintings for a living, and the Enola Gay and the Manhattan Project have been a big interest of mine for years. But
I'm sorry. Whoa. For a living?
Yeah, for a living. I've been doing it about 30 years. I'll show you some pictures sometime.
Wow.
We're about to do a big display at the Museum of Arts and Sciences in Daytona here, starting in October, that chronicles World War II with a lot of the artwork and artifacts and stuff.
Good for you. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Met a lot of awesome people along the way, and hearing their stories and painting their stories. But,
wow.
But that's a subject for another day. Hey, as far as the IMAX theaters go, though, we lived in St. Augustine for many years, and there's a fantastic IMAX theater at the World Golf Village, which is only, hour and change north of here. Well, I live in DeLand, so it's about an hour and a half from you. But it's great. And they play commercial films. And I don't know if they're going to have Oppenheimer, but I imagine they will because and it's a great experience, beautiful theater, nice people. So World Golf Village, IMAX.
Good to know, John. Very good. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Let's go to Mark in Orlando. Hey, Mark, you're on WDBO. What's going on?
Not much, kind of quick, but I just wanted to mention I grew up originally around Philly, and they have an IMAX at the Franklin Institute, which is similar to the one you talked about in Fort Lauderdale. And I think the difference is the IMAXs in the theaters around here or in many places are essentially just big screens.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting as well.
They're in front of you, but the one at the Franklin Institute, when they first started coming out, is like a surround. It's almost like you're 3D in a way because it's completely you're almost in a globe or
does that not affect your nausea at all? Does that give you kind of a dizziness or anything? I would feel like that would mess with my head.
It kind of depends. The movie I saw in that environment, it starts out like with a camera underneath the helicopter, so your traffic guys would appreciate this. But and it's going along one of the rivers around Philly to see the rowers, and you're flying at helicopter speed, and it feels like
Laurel, and is that like soaring out at Epcot?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, does the wind blow in your hair as it's going by?
No, it could. If they did that, you would think you were actually flying, but yeah, it's completely takes off your peripheral and front vision as opposed to just being in front of you.
That is really interesting. Mark, are you going to go see Oppenheimer?
I'm not sure. I might wait for it to come out on DVD.
I'll just say all the reviews I've read, everybody begs you got to see it on a big screen.
I do save stuff for big screens that have a lot of action. Like, Mission Impossible or Star Wars. But I'm not sure. And I have a military background. I've been on your show before, and I'm not sure I need to see more military stuff. I've seen.
Yeah, I get that. I understand that. That makes sense. Well, Mark, thank you so much for your call. Thank you for your service. I'm glad you joined us here on the Joe Kelley Show. 844-580-WDBO. It's 844-580-9326. You can use the open mic in the WDBO app. Coming up, okay, here. I don't know if you guys watch the Today Show. I don't ever watch any of the morning talk shows. I don't watch any of the midday talk shows, and I don't watch any of the afternoon talk shows. And I don't watch any of the late night talk shows. I don't watch any of those shows at all. So it is rare for me to want to bring up something that was discussed on one of those shows. But Al Roker, evidently, he's the weather guy / meteorologist for the Today Show, NBC, right? So they had here, let me just play the clip and you can hear it for yourself.
How often to shower per week?
Yes. How many times do you think you should shower per week, according to dermatologists?
I bet they're going to say C. 5 times.
I'm going to say every day, even though I know it's
I don't care what they say. I'm going to say A.
B, 2 to 3 times per week. And I'm looking at Al's face like, what is this? It depends on the person, your lifestyle, your skin type, your
lifestyle.
Age.
So Al Roker was gobsmacked that they advise you to shower 2 to 3 times a week. Evidently, Al Roker showers every day and sometimes twice a day. And your mileage may vary, I guess, depending on what you do for a living. I would think that would be a major deciding factor. But coincidentally, I literally just said this to my wife like 2 days ago because I just find that I have the driest skin. My skin gets so dry. And as soon as I get out of the shower, I've got to just lather up with lotion. And so I try not to shower every day just because it really dries out my skin. So I am a 2 to 3 times a week shower kind of guy. I'm right there with what dermatologists say. So is that gross? Is it gross that I only shower 2 to 3 times a week? I shower when I know that I need to shave is pretty much what it comes down to. And that's about 2 to 3 times a week because I shave in the shower. All right. So let me know. We're gonna ask Laurel and Paul here in a second. We're going to find out their personal hygiene. They signed up for this. So I'm going to ask them. We'll get into that coming up next. Stay right where you are.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. Now, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
Looking at a couple of new crashes. The first one being on Colonial eastbound before Deer Isle Drive. 2 right lanes are blocked in on State Road 50. Also a crash 429 southbound. This one again, another one. We had an earlier one before West Road. Now we have another one. This one has the left lane blocked. This report sponsored by Indeed.com. When you need to hire, you need Indeed. The hiring solution helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
AMC theaters are dropping the plan to charge moviegoers more for the best seats. AMC is now looking to test a new seating concept that will replace the front rows with lounge-style seating. The concept will begin testing later this year. Cleanup is underway in North Carolina after a major EF3 tornado tore through the region yesterday. Local EMA officials are reporting at least 89 homes and building structures were damaged and 16 people were injured just east of Raleigh. The 150-mile-per-hour twister traveled for about 20 miles. Senate Democrats and Republicans have opposing views on a Supreme Court ethics bill that's been advanced by the Senate Judiciary Committee. Democrats have been seeking clear ethics rules after reports of 3 justices allegedly receiving gifts and favors. Republicans argue the bill is unconstitutional. Marie, you had to suffer through the conversation.
What do you
That's
mean
funny.
suffer through Panda Express? I love Panda Express. Panda Express is what I categorize as crappy mall Chinese food. And I love crappy mall Chinese food from time to time. Not all the time, but from time to time. The kind of crappy mall Chinese food that after you eat, like an hour later, you're like, I am going to excuse myself for a while. You know what I'm talking about. Laurel, you feeling okay?
I'm okay. I read for what it's worth. I'm a reader. I have like 5 books on my nightstand.
Food your rent. Yeah. That's funny. I like that. Food your rent. We have to buy a vacuum because our apartment downtown had no carpets, no carpeted floors. It was all hardwood floors. And so now our new place has a combination of hardwood floors and carpeting. So we have to buy a vacuum. So that's on my list of exciting things I get to do.
I got this really awesome vacuum for my wedding, and it's like one of the nice cordless ones, the Dysons. Loved it. But I was told, because my mother has one, she's like, don't let it drop, don't let it drop, don't let it drop. If you drop it, you break it, it's done for. So I'd like catch the kids using it. I'm like, we have another, you get to use the big hefty vacuum. You're not allowed to use that one because you're going to drop it and you're going to break it. And like 3 months ago, it essentially stopped working. It only runs for about, and I'm like, of course, nobody's going to own up to being the one that dropped my vacuum,
Right.
but I am incensed. I'm so mad that somebody dropped my vacuum after all my warnings.
Oh.
So now we have to buy a vacuum too.
Well, it looks like Ronnie just sent me the vacuum that she was looking at Lowe's, but it's actually cheaper on Amazon.
Oh my gosh, Marie. You're silly.
So please hold while I buy this.
Is it a cordless one?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, interesting. That's just the newest trend.
Yeah, I don't.
You know what's funny, David, is
Doesn't
we
appear to
have
be.
2 Roombas because something glitched on our wedding registry and we had 2 friends buy us Roombas. and we set the one up downstairs and we never run it. And we have one still in a box that I've been meaning to put upstairs, like in our bedroom, so it can do our bathroom because there's always hair and every,
Yeah, it
Anyways,
has a cord.
still haven't set it up.
And stories that matter to you. Use the open mic in the WDBO app and let your voice be heard on the Joe Kelley Show.
844-580-WDBO or hit me up in the open mic in the WDBO app. It's the Joe Kelley Show. You can find the Joe Kelley Show podcast wherever you get your podcast. Look for it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. No matter where you get it, you're going to be able to find the Joe Kelley Show. While you're at it, if you would, take a look for the Joe Kelley Show Facebook page as well and give that a like. That would be really, really awesome if you would do that. So thank you very much.
Hey, Joe, according to the website, the Regal Cinema at Point Orlando
Right.
has Oppenheimer on IMAX. Not sure if it's the millimeters you want, but it's showing there.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I thought we had plenty of IMAX theaters here in Orlando, but evidently in the entire state of Florida, there's only one IMAX 70 millimeter, and that is, at least according to this Click Orlando piece, and that is over in the Tampa area. Paul Cross, I'm looking at your video here on the WDBO Facebook page, and I see that you're ready for your shower. You've got your bathrobe and your shower cap. You're ready to go. So is today shower day in the Cross household?
Yeah, Al Roker and I shower together each day, so we're.
So Al Roker kind of went apoplectic when he found out how frequently we're supposed to shower each week.
How often to shower per week?
Yes. How many times do you think you should shower per week, according to dermatologists?
I bet they're going to say C. 5 times. I'm going to say every day, even though I know it's
Yeah, I don't care what they say. I'm going to say A.
B, 2 to 3 times per week. But I'm looking at Al's face like, what is this? It depends on the person, your lifestyle, your skin type, your
Lifestyle?
age.
Yeah. It does depend on your lifestyle. Like if you're out golfing every day or you're out working, shoveling dirt every day, I mean, there's a difference. I mean, if that's the case, I understand showering every day or twice a day even. And we've all had those, days where we had to shower twice or 3 times. Here in Florida, you go outside and suddenly you're outside for 10 minutes and you're sweating profusely. I mean, you're going to need to shower.
You walk to the mailbox.
Yeah.
You got to come home and change your shirt, for crying out loud.
Right. So, all right. So let me throw it to you, Paul Cross. How many times a week do you shower?
I shower usually anywhere between 3 and 5 times a week.
All right.
I still do.
Laurel?
I like to feel clean, like when I crawl into bed too.
I like that part. Absolutely so. But again, as I said, my skin just gets so dang dry that I feel like then I have to lotion up, and then I get into bed with lotion, and then it's just as bad as getting into bed sweaty. That's terrible. Laurel, what about you?
I shower every single day, but my husband, who works from home and sometimes doesn't leave the house at all, will also only shower 3 to 5 times a week, so.
Yeah, and I have those days where literally like today is an example where the only time I've gone outside today was to walk to my car to drive here, and then I will walk to my car to drive home. And I won't be doing anything outdoors today. Not because I'm trying to avoid the heat or anything. I don't have any plans to do anything outdoors today. And thus I don't plan on sweating today, and otherwise, I mean, sometimes you just jump in the shower and just rinse off real quick. But man, I don't know how anybody can shower. Do you not have to lotion up? I mean, does that not dry out your skin?
This is really weird. I have like oily skin. I have Mediterranean oily skin. So no, it actually is not a problem for me.
I have,
and it's not a shampoo thing for me, obviously.
Right, because you have not a hair on your head. Yeah, and I've been a part of the no poo movement for several years now, anyway. And for anybody who's new to the show, I should explain what no poo means. No poo is not going to the bathroom. Poo is short for shampoo. And I generally don't shampoo my hair. I just rinse my hair and rarely. The only time I have it shampooed is when I go get it cut. And then the stylist will shampoo my hair, and then it's all jacked up again because somebody shampooed my hair. Oh, this is the hell that is my life. My name is Joe Kelley. It's 844-580-WDBO.
This is WDBO.
WDBO.
107.3 FM and AM 580.
Good evening, 6:30 here at WDBO. Our top story, President Biden in Philadelphia today delivering remarks on how so-called Bidenomics is fueling America's clean energy future, creating American-made products and American factories with American workers, and attracting more than $500 billion in private sector manufacturing and clean energy investments. Here's President Biden.
We're making investments like this in communities all across the country. In red states, blue states, it doesn't matter. I'm president for everybody. I said that no matter whether they voted for me or against me, I'd make sure we change this.
Lawmakers are examining what's called right to repair restrictions. Our Washington correspondent Kirsten Garris explains both sides of the issue and what this means for your wallet.
Consumer advocates say these restrictions limit who has the correct information or parts to fix a product. They believe that impacts small businesses and can drive up costs for everyone. Policy experts, on the other hand, argue manufacturers have the right to keep this information. They believe sharing it could lead to copyright and intellectual property or IP issues. In Washington, Kirsten Garris, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580.
The Federal Reserve has launched its own instant money transfer service. FedNow allows individuals and businesses to send and receive payments within seconds, and it will be available 24/7. The service is being rolled out at 35 participating banks, including JP Morgan and Wells Fargo. Fed Chair Jerome Powell says it'll help make everyday payments over the coming years faster and more convenient. Financial institutions won't be required to use FedNow. It's 6:31 here at WDBO.
You see our friend Chris there, says he showers 7 to 14 times a week. Wow.
Yeah, but he works in the medical field, so there's a good chance that if he goes to the hospital and comes back, he has to shower.
Yeah,
Paul, I love your use of props.
Hey, I'm home.
He's home. He has them.
I know. Chris, I don't know how you can shower 14 times a week.
Well, that's what I was saying. He's in the medical field, so there's a good chance that when he goes and he has to shower.
That makes sense.
Yep, he confirms, yes.
Yeah, it depends on your lifestyle, depends on your profession,
Right,
hobbies.
right.
Sometimes I'll just be out flying my drone on a day like today. It's so damn hot. And I'll just be out flying the drone. I'm like, well, I'm definitely going to have to go home and shower.
And when I was really good at working out every day, I mean, you absolutely had to. If I'd go home and work out,
Right.
you have to shower. After
Absolutely
that, right?
so. See, that is why I don't work out.
That's why.
So I don't have to shower every day because my skin gets too dry. I'm a good Irish boy.
Honestly-
You're Mediterranean. I'm Irish. And us
Right,
Irish people.
If I put lotion on, I break out. That's how oily my skin naturally is.
Wow.
Like my tattoos, when I had to put like lotion and antibiotic ointment on my tattoos to heal them, my skin would break out because I'm already so oily.
Wow. Did I say bow wow wow? I feel like I did.
Bow wow wow.
I just seeing how hot it's been, I just saw a post from someone that said, it's hot outside. Remember to drink lots of water and stay indoors between 11 a.m. and November 1st.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's funny. So true. Yeah, Marie, that's what you said. If you're dirty, wash. If you sit at a desk all day and barely, yeah, that's exactly why. Like, I'll notice my husband sometimes he'll like not shower for 2 days, and in my brain I'm like, well, that's weird, and I'm like, but is it? Because he hasn't left the house in 48 hours, so it's not weird.
And Marie, yes, I did fly. I've been flying in the morning for the past 3 days, and I'll fly again on Monday morning. But the radio portion of it was broken down yesterday and the day before. So today is the first day I actually got a chance to interact with Scott and Ed in the morning. And it was fun. It's beautiful up there. So thanks for asking. Yeah, it turns into long days, though. You're right.
I don't feel like opening a can of worms this late in the show. I was going to do a racial thing, but I don't think I want to go there this late in the show.
Probably a smart move.
For the
You'll get callers calling it last minute.
I will be honest with everybody here in the chat. I'm not excited about any of the topics that I had tonight coming to the show. There are days in which I'm like, man, there's just nothing that's floating my boat today. And today was one of those days that just none of the topics really got me excited.
Why do you just have that stuff?
So if you guys have anything you want to talk about here in the next 25 minutes or so, I'm happy to step aside. Make it the Laurel Show. The Laurel and Paul. Paul and Laurel.
Star Wars. Let's talk about Star Wars. I can talk about that.
What have I done?
For 90s. From Channel 9 Eyewitness News, I'm certified chief meteorologist Tom Terry.
Now, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
Believe it or not, it's gotten a lot better right now on our roadways
through downtown. It looks like everything is back up to full speed on I-4 and the 408. We're still seeing some brake lights, I-4 westbound between Sand Lake and 535. And then as you pass World Drive, we still have that crash on State Road 50, Colonial eastbound before Deer Isle Drive with 2 right lanes blocked, and a crash on 429 southbound before West Road. That one has a left lane closed. This report sponsored by Valero. Valero's 100 Days of Summer is here. Get fuel savings, snacks, and swag on the road when you download the Valero Pay Plus app every day, all summer. Additional terms and conditions apply. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Orlando's news and talk. In-depth segments on topics that matter to Orange, Seminole, Osceola, and all of Central Florida. The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO.
I love your show every night. You're doing great, bud.
I got to say, I'm really excited about something that's happening in my family. And it's about one of my family members I don't talk about very often, just because I don't see him very often. But as you guys know, I think, I've got 2 17-year-old sons, Black and Decker. Then I've got oh heavens, 19-year-old daughter, 19-year-old daughter, Sierra. But we also have a much older son. I've got a 34-year-old son. And you'll think, well, wait a minute, what's with the age gap there? Why would you have such a big age? Of course, there's a lot of different reasons why you could have an age gap that different between your children. A lot of us do. And in this particular case, we adopted our first child, our first son, Joey. And his name actually is the same as mine. He is Joseph James Kelley Jr., and he legally changed his name. We adopted him when he was 11 years old from the state of Texas. He was in the state foster care system. And it was, you know, those television segments, I think Martha Segalski does them here on Channel 9, of I think they call him Waiting Child or something like that. But we literally saw a segment on the news about this kid that, you know, kind of got lost in the foster care system in the state of Texas when we lived in Texas. And he actually, my then wife and I were in 2 different rooms at the time, but we both heard the TV, and we both kind of walked into the room and we're like, would we want to do something like that? Would we want to adopt a child? And we had a long discussion about it. And we started taking you have to go through a series of foster and adopting classes. And then we had adopted him, and he very quickly wanted to change his name. And we were advised against that. They say, you know, the children's names are their identities, and don't go changing their names. And we counseled our son. We're like, hey, I don't, you know, You don't have to do this. You don't need to do this. You don't have to do it to impress us. You don't have to do it to endear yourself to us. But he was very adamant about it. And we said, all right, that's great. You'll get a fresh start with a fresh name. And Joey and his wife and their son, which makes him my grandson, live in a small town in Oklahoma. And their son, my grandson, when he was born with a heart defect. And there was a period of time in which my adopted son, Joey, and I were estranged as my first marriage. I have mentioned there was a couple reasons why there were problems. And one of them was we had differing views on how to handle our adopted son. And because of that, we kind of became estranged with Joey. And I wasn't there for when his child was born. And man, I will never forgive myself. I will absolutely never forgive myself for not being there when my grandson was born, when his child was born. But that is a burden that I will live with for the rest of my life. But after I got divorced, and frankly, about the time the pandemic hit, I thought, man, I really want to reach out and establish a relationship again with my son. And I did. And as soon as I was able to travel, I flew out to Oklahoma to catch up with my son and to meet his wife and to meet my grandson. And my grandson he's so adorable. He's such a wonderful kid. He's so cute, but he has medical problems. And he routinely has to go to, they'll have to travel like to Oklahoma City or to Dallas to see doctors to treat him because of lingering effects from his heart disease when he was born. And he's had some other issues. And during my discussions with them, as you might imagine, I had suggested to them, hey, have you guys ever considered Make-A-Wish? Are you aware that you're probably eligible for a wish for Evan, who is my grandson? And they were not aware of that. And I was so glad that I made them aware of Make-A-Wish. And they are in the final stages of granting his wish. And his wish is to come here to Orlando, as almost all American Wish kids do. Almost all American Wish kids want to come here to either Orlando or out to Anaheim or a Disney cruise. Those are the number one wishes that children wish for in the Make-A-Wish pipeline. And so he's coming here. He's going to go to Legoland, and then he's going to come here. He'll go to SeaWorld and Disney and all that stuff. And they've asked me to be a part of the wish. So they my daughter-in-law, is that right? Stepdaughter? No, daughter-in-law. What is it, Laurel? What does that make her?
It's your daughter-in-law.
My daughter-in-law. So my daughter-in-law contacted me yesterday, day before yesterday, and she said that they were trying to, finalize the dates of when they're going to come out here. And I'm like, don't come now. Don't come now. It's hot. It's so hot. Don't come now. Run. Don't come to Florida. So they said, when is the best time of the year to come to Florida? And I said, like December. You could do November, December, January, right? Would you suggest those are our best months?
Yeah, I think so.
And those are months in which, and certainly during the Christmas break, I mean, that is when Disney traditionally, at least, has sold out. Regularly, they sell out, like Christmas week, Thanksgiving week, that kind of stuff. It's hard to say if they're going to be selling out now, just because overall theme park traffic is down this year. And not just for Disney, not just because of the whole woke, get woke, go broke thing. It's not just that. But even Universal is down right now. So all of our theme parks are down. And I said, really, it won't matter if the theme parks are crowded, because when you're a Wish kid, you go to the front of the line. You don't wait in lines when you're a Wish kid. You go right to the front of the lines, and you never have to wait in lines. So I'm so jazzed about my son and his wife and grandson coming to Orlando, presumably sometime this winter. And I'm going to take a couple days off, obviously, so I can spend some more time with them and spend some time with them at the theme parks and get to know my grandson better and get to know my my daughter-in-law better, and I'm just so thoroughly excited about that. Speaking about Make-A-Wish, we have made some tweaks to our annual Make-A-Wish fundraiser that I'm excited to be able to share with you pretty soon. Pretty soon. I can't do it right now, but pretty soon I'm going to be able to share with you some of the exciting details about our annual fundraiser for Make-A-Wish. And then one of the really cool things is that they live in Oklahoma now. So it is the Oklahoma chapter that organizes the Wish to come here to Central Florida. And then the Central and Northern Florida chapter of Make-A-Wish will assist with the Wish for any needs here locally. But it's the Oklahoma chapter that actually does the Wish. Well, I used to be the president of the board of directors of the Make-A-Wish Oklahoma. And so I was able to call up my Make-A-Wish friends in Oklahoma and say, hey, my grandson is coming through the pipeline. And I was just so excited about that and couldn't wait for him to get his wish granted. So I'm very, very excited about all that. 6:45, the time now here on WDBO.
The Joe Kelley Show on WDBO. Now, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
Well, we've got some minor slowing I-4 westbound through Lake Mary, but for the most part, it's trouble-free through downtown on I-4 and the 408. We have a crash on the Turnpike southbound before the 528. They've got the right lane blocked there, and a wreck on 429 southbound before West Road with the left lane closed. ProTech Air Conditioning and Plumbing Service for honesty, integrity, and 100% customer satisfaction. Call ProTech 407-291-1644 or visit protechac.com. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
Now the three big things you need to know.
Anyone who says they like hot weather hasn't been spending the summer in the southern half of the U.S. People from here in Florida to California experiencing record-breaking heat and remaining under heat advisories. Triple-digit temperatures are expected to continue as the heat dome expands in Texas and in the Southwest. Home sales for June are at their slowest pace in more than a decade. The National Association of Realtors says that sales of pre-owned homes last month dropped 18.9% from June of 2022. That's the biggest drop since 2009. The White House is still trying to determine the whereabouts of an American soldier who crossed into North Korea. Deputy Press Secretary Olivia Dalton told reporters today the administration is working to figure out what happened to Private Travis King. King was facing disciplinary action after he got into a fight and was being sent home.
Marie, what do you mean? Hopefully I can let Karen know so she can see me at the park. What do you mean by that? Does Karen work at the park? Does Karen?
Yes.
She works at Legoland?
She works in Magic Kingdom in the store there in the front.
No kidding.
Yeah.
When my son said that their wish was to go to Legoland, my first reaction was, I've only been to Legoland once. And the time I went, the park was closed. It's like going to Wally World. Park's closed. Sign out front. Should have told you. John Candy.
Sorry, folks.
I went all the way to Legoland, and the damn park was closed.
Marty Moose.
Moose outside. Should have told you. And
well, that's me.
Laurel, you've done troops at Legoland, right? I mean, is Legoland fun?
Yeah. Okay, so it's fun for little kids.
Yeah, and he's a little kid. He's like 8.
Yeah, you get like 13, 14, 15, they may get a little bored. Yeah. But anybody below that, they're going to have a blast.
Yeah. Plus, we're going to hit all the parks, evidently, so we'll be at all of them.
Oh, good. There you go.
Because we're going to Disney and Universal, too, so. All right, guys. We have like 4 more minutes. Who's got a story to tell? You have a story, Paul? The moose.
Yeah, you can't hear me.
That was so good.
You can't hear me.
No, a story on air, Paul.
Yeah, I know, but he
Yeah, well, is he
can't
gonna
hear
tell
me
a story
talk right
on
now.
here?
So if he wants me to, I can talk about this Operation Slowdown thing and what I saw this
Oh,
morning.
yeah. Let him talk about Operation Slowdown, because I'm seeing cop cars, too. Cop cars are out to get you if you're speeding.
Operation Slowdown, that's a thing?
Southern Slowdown. Remember, I just asked you if you heard about it?
Operation Southern Slowdown, OSS.
Do they do rolling roadblocks? Okay, we'll talk about it in the air. Operation Southern Slowdown. Okay. I have not done my job today as a talk host. I apologize to everybody. I couldn't find anything that was exciting, anything that was me. You know, there's plenty of stuff to talk about, but some stuff, you know, if I'm not excited about it, how can I get our listeners excited about it, you know? It's got to, I hate to say it, but it's got to excite me first. Otherwise, I'm just saying words. I'm not feeling it, you know? And I would say since May 1st, this is the first day that's really happened. That's not bad. Sun State Ford. Ba, ba, ba. Ba, ba, ba. Ba, ba, ba. Don't they have like a water skiing show or something like that now at Legoland? I thought they did.
Yeah, I think they do. Yeah, brand new.
I
Well,
like
newish,
that.
like a year
I
now,
like
but-
a water ski. When they used to do that at SeaWorld, that was my favorite thing about going to SeaWorld was watching the water skiers. I don't know why they stopped doing that.
Yeah, you'd think with the decrease in animal shows, they would up human shows.
Right. Yeah. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, David. You guys are very kind. Thank you. I love including you guys in on behind the scenes stuff.
And Talk, WDBO.
So Laurel asked me earlier off the air, she said, Joe, do you know what the Southern Slowdown is? And I'm like, I have no idea what that is. But evidently the Southern Slowdown is a thing.
Operation Southern Slowdown.
Oh, excuse me. Operation Southern Slowdown. Southern Slowdown. Operation Southern Slowdown. All right. So
good, buddy.
So what is Operation Southern Slowdown? This has to do with you, Paul Cross, I'm told.
Yeah, it sure does. As a matter of fact, I knew that it was going to be happening this week, where it's Operation Southern Slowdown, where they're really cracking down on all of our highways to try to keep the speeds down. They're just reminding you, you don't have to go 80 miles an hour. You want to get there safely. So this morning, I am in Air 1, and I'm on the air reporting.
I saw your video, by the way, on your Facebook page. I thought that was really cool.
When we were landing this morning, I took some video because it is the best office window in the entire city being up there. But this morning, I happened to catch a whole bunch of police officers on bikes. We counted 10 to 12 alone on I-4 in the express lanes right after Altamont. And they were just waving people over, just pulling them over left and right. And it's part of that Operation Southern Slowdown that they're doing right now. So just a reminder, those express lanes are 60 miles per hour and they will pull you over. Why do I know that they'll pull you over? Because 2 days ago, my wife got pulled over.
Womp, womp.
And here's what happened with her. She was going the speed limit, but she was in the right lane on I-4, and they had a road ranger with the lights on. And she couldn't get over.
Right.
And the law is you're supposed to get over when you see a road ranger in the right lane or slow down 20 miles an hour below the speed limit. So my wife did not have even time to slow down, and so she got a warning. She didn't get a ticket. So they've been giving out tickets and warnings this week, but just to make sure that you know, you're going to see a lot more police presence on the roadway.
Well, speaking about your Facebook video from today, our friend Jane Aquino from Disney, I saw she posted on her Facebook page earlier today. She must have been getting on the the I-4 express lanes and saw a whole bunch of motorcycle cops and snapped a picture of them. And she said, "Oh boy, the cops are out in big time today." Now, how long does that last, through the week or what?
Yeah, through the week. It's going to keep going. They started off earlier this week. Monday was kind of a light radar check and things like that. But now I'm seeing them on surface streets as well. When I left the airport this morning on Crystal Lake, they had 5 or 6 police officers there because they know where the speeders are, I guess you can say, on some of these surface streets. So you just got to be careful this week, especially. Mind your P's and Q's and just keep the speed down.
All right, here's what we've learned today. Slow it down just a little bit. You don't need to shower as often as you've been showering. And we don't have an IMAX theater, evidently, in Orlando.
And hot dogs are the greatest meat known to mankind.
Oh, no. Okay, hang on. We'll end the show with Mitt Romney once again talking about hot dogs.
Well, as you all know, today is National Hot Dog Day. And perhaps you also know that hot dog is my favorite meat. I love hot dogs. I love them in buns. I love them outside of buns. I love them with baked beans. I just like hot dogs. It's the best, meat there is, without question. So to all of you who, like me, are celebrating National Hot Dog Day, congratulations to you. And may there be many, many more hot dogs served in our wonderful land.
That's just creepy. I'm Joe Kelley.
It's like a Dr. Seuss thing. I like them in a bun and out a bun and out the bun and with the beans.
Have a great evening. We'll see you back here tomorrow, 5 to 7 for our Fun and Games Friday tomorrow, right here on WDBO.
Now, WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Triple Team Traffic.
Still have that crash on the Turnpike southbound before the 528. They have the right lane closed there, and it's bunching up traffic through that area. Also, a wreck 429 southbound before West Road that is starting to clear out. The left lane was blocked. They're just now clearing that up. This report sponsored by Mattress Firm. Don't miss Black Friday now at Mattress Firm. Save up to $600 and get a free adjustable base on qualifying purchases. Visit your local Mattress Firm today. From the WDBO Triple Team Traffic Center, I'm Paul Cross.
Thanks you guys so much for being a part of the show. Thanks for keeping us company. This was not an award-winning show, but it was fun. We had a good time, right? So thanks you guys. Love you, and we'll catch you tomorrow, 5 to 7.